1 lap to go at Bristol, and it looked like all hell was about to break loose. Christopher Bell, leading. Brad Keselowski, charging. The stakes? A playoff win and a shot at redemption. Keselowski slammed him once, then again, hard. Bell held on, barely, and drove away to victory. But what happened after the race? That's where things got really wild. Christopher Bell didn't just celebrate. He revealed what he was thinking in those final moments. And his words? They lit NASCAR Twitter on fire. But before we get to Bell's shocking quote, we need to rewind. Because this wasn't just any race. This was Bristol, concrete chaos, with playoff dreams on the line, and a tire experiment that nearly tore the night apart. Saturday night was supposed to be simple. 4 drivers eliminated, 12 move on. But if you've watched NASCAR long enough, you know Bristol doesn't do simple. And this night, it was a full-on demolition derby dressed up as a playoff race. It all started with Goodyear bringing in a softer right-side tire, trying to spice up the racing. During Friday's practice, everything seemed okay. Teams ran 50, even 60 laps with no big problems. Crew chiefs set their strategies based on that data. But then came race night, and everything flipped. The temperature dropped from 83 to 71 degrees. That might not sound like a big deal, but in NASCAR, it's the difference between grip and disaster. Suddenly, tires were wearing out in just 20 laps. Pit boxes went from calm to chaos in a heartbeat. Chris Gabehart, Hamlin's crew chief, said it best. If anyone says they expected that going in, they're lying to you. Even Adam Stevens, Bell's own crew chief and a guy who's seen it all, admitted he was blindsided. I would have bet my house this would be a normal Bristol race, he said. And yet, this wasn't just abnormal. It was a war zone. NASCAR had to step in and give teams an extra set of tires just to survive. 14 cautions, the most in a Bristol night race in 20 years. The kind of stat that makes veterans shake their heads and rookies sweat. Amid the madness, Brad Keselowski saw his opportunity. Starting 18th, the odds weren't in his favor. He hadn't won in over 50 races. RFK Racing was desperate, but Keselowski didn't panic. He executed. By stage 2, he was up to 4th. His crew chief, Jeremy Bullins, played the strategy game to perfection. When others stumbled on tire calls, Keselowski climbed. With 62 laps to go, he took the lead. For a moment, it looked like the drought was finally over. But Bristol never lets you coast. 13 laps left. Cole Custer tries to merge awkwardly onto the track. Chaos. Contact. Bubba Wallace into the wall. Caution flag waves. The lead Keselowski had built vanished in an instant. What followed was the kind of playoff gamble that careers are made or broken on. Bullins called for right-side tires only. It was a bold move. Gain track position, go for the win. Keselowski lined up 4th on the restart. Right behind him, Christopher Bell, who made the exact same call. The stage was set. Keselowski picked the outside lane for the restart. Bad idea. Carson Hocevar spun his tires. Zane Smith got caught up. Keselowski was trapped. Bell, down low, had a runway to glory. Keselowski's frustration was building, and you could hear it in his voice after the race. Still, he kept his foot in it. With fresh tires and fury in his veins, he closed in on Bell. Lap by lap, the gap disappeared. 3 car lengths. 2. 1. And this is where Christopher Bell revealed something that shocked fans, drivers, even reporters. I expected it, Bell said bluntly after the race. He ran me down from however long it was. 3 car lengths, 4 car lengths. I knew he was going to be really aggressive, really hungry. Let that sink in. Bell knew what was coming. He knew Keselowski was going to hit him. Hard. And he didn't flinch. He didn't block. He prepared. Bell even explained his plan. I think I backed my corner up a little bit, just trying to stay under the tires a little bit more. I had less grip than I was anticipating, and I could not get my car to stick around the bottom. He wasn't guessing. He was calculating. Bell wasn't racing to avoid the hit. He was racing to absorb it. And when Keselowski made his move, when he pulled the trigger on a textbook Bristol bump and run in turn 4, it didn't work. Bell absorbed the hit and launched forward, controlled chaos, masterclass in composure. As the checkered flag waved, it wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Christopher Bell crossed the line first, but the story didn't end at the checkered flag. In fact, it was just beginning. Because what Bell did wasn't just survive a classic short track bump and run, it was the way he neutralized it that had everyone talking. Brad Keselowski did exactly what you're supposed to do at Bristol. He got to the bumper. He moved the leader. He did everything right. But it still wasn't enough. And that failure hit harder than the contact in turn 4. Keselowski, still catching his breath after the race, sounded more stunned than angry. "I had a shot at him down here on the last lap. I hit him, and it didn't do anything," he said. Think about that. Brad Keselowski, former champion, short track bruiser, executed the move perfectly, and it didn't do anything. That's not just frustrating. That's humiliating. Bell didn't just beat him. He erased the one advantage Brad thought he had. And here's the real kicker. Bell knew that was going to happen. His entire post-race interview had this quiet confidence, almost like he'd been planning it for weeks. "Those last 3 laps, they were not my prettiest 3 laps I've run in my career," Bell admitted, "but it was good enough to get to the checkered flag first." That's the kind of line that sticks. He didn't need perfect. He just needed to be prepared. And when the time came, Bell didn't blink. The racing world took notice. Analysts were in awe. Jeff Gluck said Keselowski nailed him and hit him pretty hard, yet Bell held his line. Clean, controlled. Jordan Bianchi took it even further. There was no luck. This was skill. And that's what separates contenders from champions. Bell didn't hope to win. He positioned himself to win. He expected aggression. He absorbed it. And in doing so, he flipped the script on one of NASCAR's most reliable short-track moves. But there's another layer here that makes Bell's performance even more impressive and more dramatic. Just 1 week earlier, at Gateway, Bell had been furious. After a late race pit strategy call cost him a shot at the win, he didn't hold back. His frustration with his team was public. His 7th place finish felt like a loss. The chemistry in the number 20 garage looked shaky. Coming into Bristol, no one knew how Bell would respond. Would the tension carry over? Would the distraction shake his focus? Instead, Bell showed up with ice in his veins and steel in his hands. He didn't just rebound, he dominated. This was his 4th win of the season, but more importantly, it was his first since March at Phoenix. It snapped a long, frustrating stretch of near misses and bad luck. And it came at the perfect time, locking him into the round of 12 and capping off a perfect round of 16 for Joe Gibbs Racing. In a year where chaos has been the only constant, Bell became a rock, steady, relentless, unshakable. And yet, for Brad Keselowski, this was another brutal chapter in a growing novel of heartbreak. This was déjà vu. Earlier this year, he lost the lead at Atlanta, on the final lap. Now Bristol adds another scar. RFK Racing has been close all season. Fast cars, great calls, clean execution, but no wins. And no wins mean no momentum in the playoffs. Keselowski has built a reputation on grit, on resilience, on fighting until the last lap. But what happens when the last lap keeps slipping away? For a driver of his caliber, these near misses sting worse than crashes. Because it's not about failure, it's about almost succeeding. Again and again. And that's the kind of pattern that keeps drivers awake at night. So now we're left with 2 stories headed in opposite directions. Bell, rising with confidence and clarity, cementing his place as a playoff threat. Keselowski, stuck in a purgatory of potential, still waiting for his moment. And at the center of it all, that final lap at Bristol. A bump that didn't work, a move that fell flat, and a driver who saw it coming the whole way. The real question now is, what happens the next time they're door-to-door with a win on the line? You tell me, was this just smart driving by Bell? Or did Keselowski let one slip that he may never get back? Let us know what you think in the comments, because one thing's for sure, the war for this championship is just getting started.